Don't look now. There's only 15 weeks until Michigan State football kicks off their season. So here's 15 things we're looking forward to with number one, that jump Aiden Chiles is about to take this year. Let's.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day here right on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Matt Sheehan, and please rate, review, subscribe, do whatever makes you happy. And if that includes commenting below on YouTube what you are looking forward to the most for this Michigan State football season, well, go ahead and do so. Come on, let's get the weekend started on a happy note here. I can't actually believe it that it's only 15 weeks away. When I looked at the calendar, I said, it's probably like 20, 30-ish weeks, but that shows you how good I am at math. Now, crunch the numbers, and sure enough, guys, just 15 more Fridays until Michigan State kicks off their season against Western Michigan. And guys, why not just talk about things that we are fired up for? We're going to go through it all. Things that, hey, you know what? We have a pretty good feeling about going into the season. We also got some things that we just need an answer for. And then just the fun things that we go through as fans. But guys, number one, first and foremost, that's right. It's Aiden Chiles. And if you think that I hopped off the Aiden Chiles train last year after his rocky first start to the season, you just didn't listen to Locked On Spartans. We've been with the Aiden Chiles program for quite some time here. Was it a perfect season last year being a full-time starter? No, it wasn't. A little loosey-goosey with the ball the first half of the season, 12 turnovers in those first 6 games, but then button it up, only 4 in the last 6 games. And guys, when you look at his arm, throwing from one hash to the opposite sideline, like you see every single Sunday, okay, you see the arm talent there, no question. Later on in the season, because they were a little timid with his legs to start the year, they wanted to preserve his health. Probably a good call. But at the end of the season, they started putting him on more design runs. Guys, not a lot of quarterbacks were better at forcing missed tackles than Aiden Chiles was last year. And that's not just me just talking on about you-know-what. Now, there are stats to back that up, guys. He forced 30 missed tackles last season on 78 design runs. That's top 15 amongst all quarterbacks. A lot of the other quarterbacks, they went on more runs than he did. So he's dynamic with his arm. He's skillful with his legs. And guys, it's just what they've done around him this offseason. This goes from bringing in quarterback coach John Boyer, who, let's see if Aiden Chiles likes that move. Okay, going back to a story. Quote, "I thought it was the best thing that ever happened to me," is what Chiles said about John Boyer being brought in. And if that wasn't enough, okay, they overhauled the wide receiver room. They bolstered the offensive line. Guys, they really helped Aiden Chiles. There is no reason to think that he won't take another step forward this year in his junior season, now the second year being a full-time starter. So all aboard the Aiden Chiles hype train. And what's going to help him? Well, just like we said, all the guys around him. And let's talk about his running mate, the Batman to Aiden Chiles Batman right here. It's Nick Marsh, guys. Number 2 thing we are looking forward to the most. Yeah, the dynamic true sophomore, who, by the way, last year went 7 for 11 on contested catches. That was 15th best in the Big Ten for receivers. Guys, you want to start building agendas right now? That 7 of 11 contested catch rate, higher than Jeremiah Smith down at Ohio State. So that's right. But on a more real note, and that is a real number, but Nick Marsh, the best freshman receiver in this conference whose name wasn't Jeremiah Smith. 6'3", big-bodied receiving target, and also we saw it a few times last year. Let's go ahead and ask the Maryland secondary about this. His breakaway speed, once he gets to that third level of the defense, guys, there is a reason that a few other schools were after him. Tried to get him in the portal, tried to get him on their campus for this upcoming fall, but Michigan State, they were able to keep him, maybe arguably, maybe not even arguably, the biggest storyline of this offseason, him coming back for his true sophomore season. Michigan State, it's been no secret, as big of fans as we all are, we could all admit that there has been quite a drought for top-end NFL talent ever since Kenneth Walker has left the building. Jaden Reed was pretty solid, too. Keon Coleman, if you want to throw him in, fine, sure, whatever. It's been a little bit of time, though. This is it right here. It's Aiden Chiles, what his ceiling could be, but more so what you can already predict right now is that Nick Marsh will be one of these top-end NFL talents when the draft does come around. So he's back, Chiles is back, and guys, his running mate, That's right, the running mate to the running mate. It's Omari Kelly, transfer out of Middle Tennessee State, the third reason that we are looking forward to kickoff right here. The 6-foot senior put up north of 800 yards last year for Middle Tennessee State. That got him first-team All-Conference USA honors. Now, you want to go through the whole FBS, guys. 79.2 yards per game from Mr. Kelly. That was top 30 in the nation. Also averaged roughly 10 yards per punt return. Added a touchdown too. So they've been a little mum about who's going to be doing kickoff returns, punt returns. I, for one, think it could be Omari Kelly here. He definitely flashed it with the Blue Raiders last year. But, guys, this also goes more than just what he did at Middle Tennessee State. And this is where we're just going to have to trust each other right now. Like, trust that I talk to the people that know what's going on in the program, because I did ask people that were there for the scrimmages, the practices, hey, who's really balling out so far? I know that not a lot is getting leaked out, but just give me like a name or two. A name that I heard from a few people, guys, was Omari Kelly, that he was really shining at spring practice so far. So this is a guy that is no stranger to high-end football. He did start his career at Auburn. So it's not like, he just came from out of nowhere and then transferred to Middle Tennessee State. But he's back in Power 4 football after really getting just developed properly at Middle Tennessee State. And could it blossom here into a really good 1-2 receiving tandem at Michigan State? Well, God, I hope so. That would be really nice for everyone involved here. And also helping Aiden Chiles, number 4 on the list of things we are looking forward to the most this upcoming season, guys. That's right. Enough of the quarterback talk. Enough of the wide receiver talk, names that people will know during the entire season. No. Let's talk about the sex appeal on a football field, right, guys? The offensive line, namely Connor Moore. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, transfer haul that the Spartans got this offseason. Top 25 offensive tackle transfer according to 24/7 Sports. And really, you don't even need 24/7 Sports to tell you that, yeah, this kid was highly sought after. Cincinnati was hard after him. Ohio State tried to get him on campus for a visit, but when Michigan State hosted him last winter, that's right, you're going to commit to us and not even go to Ohio State. So, needless to say, highly prioritized elsewhere around the nation, but especially in East Lansing for a position that desperately needs it as he projects to play right tackle. Now, guys, last year at Montana State, that's right, he's coming up from the FCS ranks if you didn't know that. He allowed 11 pressures in 16 games. That is 355 passing snaps and just 11 pressures allowed. And 5 of them came in that last game against North Dakota State, so there could be something to be said about, maybe struggle against the top competition at the end of the season. But at the bare minimum, just know the body of work is 11 pressures over 16 games. And with those 355 snaps on passing plays, 4 penalties, just 4 penalties drawn. So it's not like this guy was a holding machine back there. And if you want to go outside the passing snaps, guys, he comes in with 900 plus snaps of experience from last year alone. Now, I'm going to read the pressures again. 11 pressures allowed in 16 games. Okay, that was at left tackle. He's going to be right tackle this year. A little bit of a change, but still pretty good at protecting the quarterback. 11 pressures for Connor Moore. Last year, guys, from the right tackle position at Michigan State, 29 pressures came from that side of the offensive line. 6 penalties drawn. I know that, hey, we're all expecting Connor Moore to be this outstanding world-class offensive lineman. It's going to be a step up in competition, going from the FCS to Big Ten football, but I am comfortable saying that the floor for Connor Moore, nice rhyme right there, didn't mean to do that on purpose, but the floor for Moore is going to be better than what we saw last year at the right tackle position. I'm just looking forward to something else at that position. I'm sure Aiden Chiles is too, getting the ball, shotgun snap, and not being met with a defensive end almost immediately as the leather hits your fingertips. Guys, we've got a lot more to go through. That's just 4 things. We're going to get through the others much more quicker than this. But guys, hey, again, if you want to include something, comment below on YouTube or reach out to us at lockedonspartans@gmail.com. But first, you need to talk your ears off about Game Time, the greatest ticketing app out there. Guys, the other day, I just bought tickets on Game Time, really planned ahead, went outside of my comfort zone here 3 weeks in advance of this game, but we're going to take my son to his first Tigers game at Comerica Park, hopped on Game Time, got a great flash deal, first row in the upper deck behind third base, beautiful view of the entire stadium, just $30 a pop, all in pricing. They didn't do this thing that other ticketing apps do where, okay, it's click, 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 and then 15 clicks later, you're wondering where these mystery $17 fees came from. No. It is straight up with Game Time. They give you the great deals. They give you the great tickets, and they keep it painlessly simple, guys. You're going to find great seats up until the first pitch or kickoff or tip-off, because you could also save at the last minute, guys. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. It's last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Number 5 on the list of things we are looking forward to this upcoming season, and you are out of your mind if you think I'm done talking about the offensive line, because there was another huge, both literally and figuratively, transfer portal haul that the Spartans got. This one happened in the winter cycle. Matt Golban, interior offensive lineman from Wake Forest. Now, he was the second highest graded guard in the ACC on running plays. And you can just look to Wake Forest. When they were running off Matt Golban's A-gap or B-gap, they averaged 5.0 yards per carry. That was the best amongst all their offensive linemen. So wasn't a great season for Wake Forest. You know, they didn't necessarily crack the college football playoff rankings, but they did have success when they were running off of Matt Golban's tail. So he's going to come up here, hopefully help the run game, definitely bolster the offensive line for the pass protection. But that was a big get, especially after Luke Newman leaves last season. May I say draft pick Luke Newman. So you needed a big body to come in for him. Oh, there it is right there. And number 6, guys, hey, we've talked about this ad nauseum this offseason, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but oh man, what a world of difference the depth on the offensive line is going to be from last season. Last year, that was one of our panic points going into the year, is that, hey, the offensive line, the starters, look fine. You can see how this could work out, but oh my. There's only one backup that has any college experience, and that was Dallas Fincher. And guys, we all already know the story. They had to cut into that depth almost immediately. They saw their starting right guard go down immediately, and then his replacement also go down pretty much immediately too. It was like a war field out there at the offensive line. So just one guy with any college experience as a backup last year. Fast forward to this year, going into this one, guys, if you look beyond the starting offensive linemen, there are 8 backups now that got FBS college snaps. Okay, not too shabby. That's kind of like the only benefit that you get when there's so many injuries that happened last season, right? Is that guys will at least get experience. And that's not even counting guys like Cole Dellinger, former 4-star, went through a big leg injury last year. We'll see what we get from him coming off of that. And then also Caleb Carter from the Western Carolina FCS ranks. He comes in with a lot of experience, so there is a lot of experience behind these starting offensive line because, as we know, guys, football is a game of attrition. And hey, speaking of blocking, speaking of injuries, let's go to the tight end room right now because number 7, Michael Masunis, can't wait to see him hopefully get a full season under his belt. Now, we only saw him for 4 games last year, but in those 4 games, you saw glimpses of, wait a minute, I know that Jack Valen got a lot of fanfare. Probably from me. I was probably at fault for this. Brendan Parachek, he also got a lot of shine too in the offseason. But this Michael Masunis guy, not only is he a great option out of the play action that we saw in just those 4 games, but he was also the highest graded blocking tight end according to Pro Football Focus, and by a decent enough margin too. So he's going to be back from injury. He's going to give Michigan State a good receiving option out of the play action rollouts that they certainly favored early on in the season. So, hey, bounce back season for Michael Masunis. Yes, please. We need to see that this year. And that's not to say that the rest of the room is slouches too, guys. Like Jack Valen is a reason to believe that he could have a better season than last year. I think so. He came in with a lot of hype from Oregon State. He had so many touchdowns as a sophomore over there that, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy could be an all Big Ten tight end. Certainly wasn't that last year. But there are so many compounding issues on the offenses. Can you really just chalk it up all to one guy? I'm not sure, but there's maybe somewhere in the middle of last year and that Oregon State season that would still be a really solid, productive year from the tight end room, a room that has not delivered a really solid year here in East Lansing in quite some time. That's been just kind of the thesis of the tight end talk whenever we talk about it in the offseason is, hey, is anyone ever going to have a year as good as Josiah Price did back in like 2015? Please make it this year, guys. And that's actually going to transition like into things that, you know what? Yes, we're looking forward to things. Like we talked about, like Nick Marsh, we're looking forward to it because he's exciting. hey, he's good. Like, we know what we're going to get out of a Nick Marsh, right, guys? I don't think we're going out on a limb saying that, hey, he's going to be one of the better, more exciting skill position players in this conference. But there's also some things that, like, we're looking forward to just so we can get an answer, just so we can stop driving ourselves crazy of wondering, okay, how on earth is this going to work out? I'm excited just to get answers on a lot of these things, especially the following, guys. Like, a lot of this is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. Number 8, how on earth is the linebacker core going to look? I mean, I think it can be okay. I think it's going to be more athletic. You do lose Jordan Turner, who was a solid linebacker for Michigan State last year. They grabbed him from Wisconsin. Did great here at Michigan State, all things considered, for what was expected of him out of the transfer portal. You lose Cal Halliday, who started the last 11 years here at Michigan State. And while he wasn't the quickest guy, athletically limited, that's at least a guy back there that, well, has a good brain between the ears, can identify things, put people in their place. That was a solid, I guess, strategic linebacker that you could put back there. But here's where we're going to flip the page, because I do think that this linebacker core is going to get more athletic. Now, is the bar kind of low? Sure. I'm trying to say it as nice as I could, but yes, Cal Halliday was not the quickest guy out there. Can you benefit from maybe taking away what he offered cerebrally and then adding some athleticism to that? Well, we're about to get an answer to that, because it's pretty clear, I think, that, Jordan Hall, he's going to be the middle linebacker. Okay, it's going to be his time, third year starting here, finally in that middle linebacker position. And then Wayne Matthews, who had a fine season last year at that weak side linebacker spot. So who's going to be the strong side linebacker? I think any way you slice it, whether it's Samaj Bridgman, Marcellus Polium, Ice Moa, the transfer from BYU, or Brady Pretzloff, I think you're going to get a step up in athleticism from last year, what you got at the linebacker position. Now, is that going to be an immediate fix? Maybe for passing coverage? Yes, it will be. Do you sacrifice any run defense there? That's going to be fascinating to see. Again, I'm excited to see how athletic this linebacker core does look, but oh boy, I'm going to watch the first 2 or 3 games a little more intently at the linebacker position, knowing that it's going to be a little more question marky than it was last season. And guys, I cannot wait to get an answer on this one, because truly, not only do we really hope it works out, but I would love to say confidently that yes, it is going to work. But number 9 for the things that we are looking forward to, just an answer to this defensive back experiment out of the portal. We've seen strategy number 1 when it comes to filling a room with guys out of the portal. And that's strategy number 1. This was implemented by Mel Tucker. It was going down to the SEC or different programs, better programs than Michigan State was at and still is at, quite frankly. Like, hey, Ronald Williams, you're at Alabama. Oh, you lost your starting role? Well, hey, come up here, because Alabama's B guys, well, certainly they're going to be better than our A guys, okay? Or Amir Speed out of Georgia. Same thing. Hey, lost your starting position. Come on up here. We'll give you a rebirth. Chester Kimbrough down in Florida. Oh, what's that? You lost your starting spot down there? Well, come on over to East Lansing. Reason to believe that could have worked. I think there was a little bit to be desired out of that, though. Wasn't necessarily a smashing success there in the secondary. So here is strategy number 2 being implemented. It is taking guys out of the lower level, guys that really shine, guys that were maybe the top-ranked defender on their team, or guys that were all conference back to where they were, or guys that have just a great depth of experience. Guys like Malcolm Bell out of UConn, Joshua Eaton out of Texas State, Najee Burt out of Eastern Carolina, Tracy Revels out of Bowling Green, Dontavius Nash from East Carolina, Anthony Pinnis out of 2 community colleges and 1 spring at UTSA, and then Devin Cromwell, who, yes, he just came from Texas Tech after 1 year, but before that, 3 or 4 years playing college football in Ontario. Not necessarily a hotbed for that egg-shaped sport, but yeah, guys, this is the second strategy. Malcolm Bell, Najee Burt, they were the top-ranked defenders or the second-ranked defenders on their teams last year. Joshua Eaton, very productive at Texas State. That's another name that we kept hearing about from the spring for guys that are shining. Tracy Revels, he played all 13 games as a freshman last year, started the last 7. So we're going to get an answer eventually. I just need it now. I don't want to wait any longer, because I'm a very impatient person, and I just want to know if we can look at the secondary and think to ourselves, hey, finally, we're moving in the right direction. Now, there's one position group that we haven't named yet that, you're probably wondering, when is he going to bring this up? We will right after this, but first I need to talk everyone's ears off about Wayfair. That is right, the days are getting longer. The weather's warming up and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or a small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Now, Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials make it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all at a price that fits your budget. Guys, the other day, hung up the string lights on our little back deck. We spruced up the cushions on the couch, all thanks to Wayfair. It's just crazy how one small purchase can just make a backyard living space look that much better. Guys, shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. For the 15 things we are looking forward to for kickoff, that is happening right before we know it in 15 weeks. And guys, yeah, that defensive line, namely the rush end position or just getting to the quarterback. My God, what an issue that was last year. So I just can't wait to see who, if anyone, please, my God, one of you people, just get to the quarterback. And if you can't do it right off the bat against Western Michigan, Youngstown State, Boston College, those first 3 home games at Michigan State, but at least we'll know that we have to panic the rest of the year, because that's one of the good litmus tests that you can get out of lesser competition like Western Michigan and Youngstown State. On one side of the ball on the offense, it's okay. The age-old talking point of if you can't get a push in the run game against those guys, you won't the entire season against Big Ten teams. On the other side of the ball, the big one for defense, I like to say, hey, if you can't get to the quarterback against these guys, you won't do it against Big Ten competition either. A lot of question marks going into this one. Are there names that we know? Yes, like Jalen Thompson. He's back. Okay, great. Like, that's the former 4-star, really strong end to his freshman year, left a little bit to be desired last year, but so did the whole defensive line as an entire unit. They went out. They went swimming in the transfer portal, and they brought in David Santiago, guy from Air Force, produced decently well at Air Force as a redshirt freshman. They got Cam Williams, a guy that's been in the college ranks for quite some times, although not really in a starting capacity, out of Georgia State, so perhaps another depth piece. They have Isaac Smith out of Texas Tech. And then this is the guy that I'm just really fascinated with right here. Anelu Lafayette, former 4-star kid out of Hawaii. Now, he's going to come here his second year of college. His first year was spent at Wisconsin. 0 snaps. Like, he has nothing to go off of right here other than just practice against Wisconsin. But he comes in with a little bit of juice, is the word that they kept using at practice. And when I say they, I mean Chad Wilt, the rush end coach over there. So we're going to see what we get out of this unit. It has to be something. It needs to be something. And you need to see it immediately here in 15 weeks, because if you go into halftime against Western Michigan, like no sacks, maybe just like 1 or 2 quarterback pressures, yeah, we'll be pulling some fire alarms over here. It's going to get nasty, because we cannot do what we did last year of just never even being able to tell what color eyes the quarterback has. That's how far away you are from him the entire season. Anyway, guys, let's try to get back on a happier note here. One thing I'm looking forward to, number 13, the schedule. Nope, guys, I'm sorry. Nope, that's number 11. I can't even read my numbers right. Number 11, the schedule. And I will say that with caution. Michigan State still has like a tough-ish schedule. It's not going to be a cakewalk, and it never will be in the Big Ten. But it certainly isn't last year. You don't have anywhere on your schedule that says that, hey, look at this. Ohio State and Oregon, 6 days apart. No. Actually, if you look at the schedule right now, and it depends what top 25 list you want to go off of, but pretty much all the consensus ones suggest that you don't have any games that are back-to-back against top 25 teams right now. Now, of course, that's subject to change during the season. Like, could it pop up that USC starts hot and, hey, they're in the top 25? Or Nebraska? Yeah, certainly. We all know how this works out, guys. But right now, as you're looking at the schedule, unlike last year where it was like Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, Michigan, who obviously they didn't have a great year, but still, you didn't just have like a murderer's row of games. A little friendlier this year going into this one. You only have one back-to-back set of road games, and that's separated by a bye. You go to USC, you get your bye week, and then you go to Nebraska. That's maybe the toughest back-to-back games that you do have. But, guys, I don't look at this schedule and think that Michigan State is just going to have any scheduled losses. Now, does that mean I think that they're going to go 12-0 and that they're going to take Penn State into triple overtime and I'm going to guarantee a win against Michigan? No. But like when I'm looking at that Penn State game, okay, at least that game is at home. At least that is against a team that, we've been actually somewhat decently competitive against in our last few meetings. That's great. And same with Michigan, too, a team that's lost a lot to the NFL, a team that will be starting a true freshman quarterback. I'm not looking at it like I did last year with Ohio State, and I'm just sharpening loss, and then very next week, loss against Oregon. Okay, you're going to have a fighting chance in all these games coming up, which is nice. I'm going to be looking forward to that, especially with how the season starts up, guys. You're not going against a Big Ten team your second week of the season on the road like you did against Maryland last year. You get a nice cushy start, 3 home games, and then you set sail to the West Coast. Now, item number 12. Guys, we're going to go back to player personnel here. I'm looking forward to just the next steps from the young guys. We're talking Stanton Ramel, who, as a redshirt freshman last year, played like as decently enough as you could hope for a redshirt freshman coming off of an ACL injury. Former 4-star kid. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of a step forward he's going to take for Aiden Chiles this year. Same with Rakeem Johnson, which, speaking of left tackle, he was thrown into the fire last year starting at left tackle. I believe it was against Ohio State or Oregon. I forget which behemoth that he had to start against. But, yeah, true freshman. The pride of Boise, Idaho, did decently enough as a true freshman. So, hey, could he be one of the first guys, if not the first guy off the bench at offensive line? Whatever position you want to throw him at, because he's now clearly versatile. He could play interior, play some tackle for you last year. Looking forward to seeing how the two young running backs, Brandon Tulis, Mekhi Frazier, how they're going to fare next season. And then also Chance Rucker, guy that comes back for his redshirt sophomore season as a cornerback. Now, he played, 6 minutes last year? Very shortened season for him due to injuries. Item number 13. Now, we're just getting into the trivial stuff right now, but this is something that I find very exciting, something that captivates my weekends and Mondays, because this is when the kickoff times usually come out. That's right, number 13. We're just going for kickoff times. And I'm fascinated to see them this year. And there will be some that come out here the next few weeks, but many of them are, scheduled 2 weeks ahead of time, if not a week ahead of time. But last year, for our Spartans, our primetime Spartans last year, 7 night games last year, 5 mid-afternoon games, not a single noon game in sight. Now, will Michigan State find themselves on the noon slate? Will they still be turning on those Spartan Stadium lights every other week, seemingly? I am fascinated to see how the schedule is going to shake up here and how many nights that they are going to hijack from all of us. At least that's how some people put it. Some people got very upset at the amount of night games last year. I, for one, love them. Back in my day, it used to be something cool when you played at night, and I still live in those kind of moments that, I kind of liked when you're playing under the lights. Call me old-fashioned, but that's just the way I kind of go here. And with the kickoff times, guys, brings number 14, because when those kickoff times drop, that means you get to start scheduling your tailgates. I cannot wait for tailgating season. And right now, my God, what I would do, how much I would pay to be in a parking lot in the Breslin Center right now, just passing around a handle of Fireball from strangers that you don't even know. You don't know where they've been. You don't know what illnesses they have, but you don't care because you're going to take a pull of that bottle right there and then wash it down with some nice Frosty Miller Lite. God, I just cannot wait to get back to the tailgating lots. Chumming up with anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 of your favorite Michigan State friends and family that you've never met before. It is truly the best. And guys, for number 15, for this one, I closed my eyes and I said, what is one of my favorite parts of the Spartan Stadium experience? And it's watching that marching band walk in. There's something about just the lineup, the crescendo of the instruments, the drums. I just got the goosebumps going right now. I cannot wait for kickoff to get here in just 15 weeks, guys. So, hey, if we missed anything that, that we didn't name, go ahead, LockedOnSpartans at LockedOnSpartans@gmail.com, or comment below on YouTube. Guys, we will be back over the weekend. We're going to be talking a lot more about Aiden Chiles with our guy Chase Glasser of Spartans Illustrated. But until then, guys, have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot for making Locked On Spartans your first listen every single day. Love you all. Go green.